Common cake baking problems and the reason behind those disasters. Cake is dry. Use of butter can use oil to keep it moist. Overbaked. Put too much flour in. The wet ingredients will absorb the flour, leaving the cake dry and crumbly. Cake sink in the middle. The cake is undercooked and raw in the middle. Butter is overmixing, which it straightens the gluten structures too much and creates more air, which causes the cake to rise and then fall again. Oven temperatures too high and too low. Crack cake. The mold is too small, improper size of mold. Too much heat. Temperature is too hot. Oven position is wrong. Too many leaveners with their baking powder or baking soda. The cake becomes like a bread. The wrong flour was used. The butter was not well mixed. The wrong leavening agent was used. Butter margarine measurement is incorrect. The sugar level was wrong or the type of sugar was wrong. The cake has saggy edges. The cake was not released from the pan soon enough and condensation has occurred inside the pan. The cake is dense. The eggs used may be too small. Insufficient air content when eggs and sugar were beaten. The flour is expired. At best, the flour should be dried first. This can help lighten the cake. The butter added to the dough may be too hot, causing it to foam and the cake to break. The oven temperature is too low. The cake is flat straight from the oven. Cakes are supposed to be a little puffed up right after baking, so your leavening agent or self-raising flour could be expired. The cake is greasy. You used too much butter. The mixture was whisked incorrectly. Your butter started sweating before you added it into your butter. The cake is stuck to the pan. You forgot to line the pan with the parchment paper. You graced your pan but you didn't do a thorough job. You didn't use the right baking spray. You didn't cut your parchment paper to size. The cake is too hard. Sugar and butter was not beaten until light and fluffy. Too much wet flour. Not enough wet ingredients. The mixture was beaten for too long after the flour is added. It was baked for too long or the temperature is too high. The cake is too moist and sticky. Too much wet ingredients, insufficient leavening agent or it's expired. Fat and sugar were not beaten enough. Butter was chunky and not beaten enough. The cake is uneven. The oven temperature may be too hot. The oven temperature is not hot enough and caused the cake to not bake evenly. The flour was not mixed well. The butter is more than half the amount of the baking pan. The pan does not match the type of oven used. Try turning your cakes a few times while baked. The cake is wet at the bottom. There was too much wet ingredients. You didn't bring the cake out of the pan quick enough to cool and dry on the cooling rack. The cake overflowed. The pan you used is too small. Use between half to 3/4 of the pan that is larger than the original recipe. You used too much leavening agent. Your oven rack is not even. Optionally, you can just separate your butter into smaller pans. The cake shrunk. If it is cooked the whole way through, it is still perfectly edible, but for next time, make sure the butter is not too cold before baking. The butter was overmixed. There was not enough of your leavening agent. The cake pan was too big. The cake crust is too hard. It's because you put too much oil when greasing the mold. So you are literally frying your cake while it's baking. The oven was too hot. The cake was baked for too long. The fat content used, butter, oil, margarine, etc., was wrong. The middle of the cake didn't rise. The size of the cake pan was wrong. Measurement of ingredients was wrong. The oven temperature was too hot, cold, or it was baked for too little time. The oven door was opened too early. There are holes in the cake. The batter is overmixed. You waited too long to put the cake in the oven. You forgot to preheat your oven.